Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for joining us again. There's a feedback. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear myself talking, so I'll keep my talking to the minimum.
Okay.
So just to remind you guys, Kim is coming back to Sonoma in November. This is 5th year running by popular demand. It was oversold last year. We're hoping for a full class this year. You have the unique, incredible opportunity to study with Kim Tang in person in Sonoma. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how much of a priority it is to be there. If your life matters to you, if your nervous system matters to you, if your beloved people matter to you, if your dogs matter to you, if your animals matter to you, like, make it a priority. Please book out the time and join, because it is like just a life transformational way to spend your weekend. There's no better way of investing your time and money, frankly, is to be in the presence of Kim. Thank you for being with us once a year.
Wow, thank you. Everybody, yes, please, come. Like, I tell you, because first of all, just about the event before we start talking, we're doing a Friday evening song, and that is, free. It's non-gratis.
Yes.
You have to come and like meet me, and let's create the field of trust with no judgment. And when you come, you're going to realize that, oh God, I can't go to the event because I have to mow the grass. And then you're going to go, yeah, no, the grass can grow for one more day. It can wait. Like, I come once a year, right? And it's my 5th year coming. Please change your plans. Get a sitter. Don't worry about the grass. Either mow it before or mow it after the weekend, something like that. Like, I would love to see you there. I lay down love on every single body in the room. So yeah, please let me.
Thank you. And I will just add one more thing to it. If you're watching this and you're part of our community and you just started practicing like this year, last year, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Kim Tang is this worldwide famous international yoga coach. I'm not flexible enough. I cannot do this. I will share a personal story. I was terrified of reaching out to Kim to train with her because I thought I am nowhere near good enough to study with Kim. And I had to get coaching in order to approach Kim to be coached by her. And let me tell you, she literally will speak to every single person, as you say, who resides in the field of gravity, right? Like, do you have to be advanced to study with you?
This is such a great way to start, because here's what I want to tell you. It is a fallacy, it is a myth and a misnomer to think that you have to be advanced to learn from me. It's actually what I'm going to call the opposite. And here's what I mean by that. It's not that the highest level teacher only teaches to the highest level student. That's not it. The highest level teacher can teach to every single student in the same room, meaning the broken, scared, stiff, maybe or maybe not with prosthetics, 70-year-old first timer who's just trying to learn how to breathe and stay in the room. And then the flexible, naturally flexible, born that way, Bindi 20-year-old, wants to be a champion in the front row. Like, the best teacher is going to teach that class from one extreme to another in the same room. And then after the class, the student is going to come, the 70-year-old broken, scared, stiff, calcified, maybe prosthetic first timer, and the flexible, naturally born that way, ballerina wants to be champion. They're both going to come to the teacher afterwards and say, I felt like you were talking just to me. Got it. Right. I do not select based on level of practice. If anything, if I were to select in any way, shape, or form, it would be what I call openness, willingness, right? The desire to allow more for yourself in your life, daring to believe in yourself, whether or not you ever stand on the edge, right? Like, if you connect to this idea that there's this potential that exists within you, that's all I need. Let's go. And it doesn't mean we have to go. We can stay. We can be still and breathe. But the bottom line is, I am magnetized for anyone who simply wants more for themselves in their life. Yeah, that's kind of my jam.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you for that's a good actually lead into what I wanted to ask you as my first line of inquiry this morning. Speaking to people who are just starting out their yoga journey, right? Like, maybe this is their first month, first year, or first week even. How often should you be practicing the yoga to see a shift, see a result?
I want to give you two different answers. The first answer I want to tell you comes from what we could consider source, which is actually Bikram Chowdhury. And what he says, over and over and over is the yoga's internal hygiene. How often would you brush your teeth? How often would you take a shower? So I want to tell you that that does prepare you for a daily practice. Realistically, though, or I should say, it's unrealistic for many and most to be able to carve out a practice 7 days a week. So what do I really think? I think that now listen to the difference, once you have an established practice, then 3 days a week is enough to maintain. 4 days a week is enough to, I'm going to call it expand and grow into the practice, stronger, deeper, more correct. The foundation of the practice is that you have to have a regular practice. So right now, again, I'm going to draw from, say, for example, Amy Cleave's The Seamless Principle of the Teaching. And, she says that it's frequency is step number one. So you come into this class, it's a hard class, but you receive so much benefit. It's super hard, but you leave and you can't wait to get back for some reason, right? Mm-hmm. So first frequency, and then the more often you go, the more often, first of all, you start to acclimate to the heat, you start to create cardiovascular endurance, because that class, no joking, it's a bit of a butt kicker. And just a little. Nice butt kicker. but in the very best way, it's a very best kind of kick in the butt.
Yeah.
And so you get, not only do you get acclimated to the heat, not only do you get the endurance of the class, but you start to hear those words more and more and more, the command-based practice. So you're repeating it from the brain through the spine to the body, and the body starts to understand the cues. The body starts to listen. Not even the mind, the body starts to listen, and the more it listens, the more it can hear. And that brings us to step two. So we have frequency, and then we have precision. Step two, precision, is when the body starts to hear the commands, then the body, right? You've established the line of communication from the brain through the spine to, through the nerves that fire the muscles, so to the body, and then the body becomes more responsive and you can be more precise, right? And then we have frequency, precision, and then we have depth. But I'm going to tell you something. I never single out depth in and of itself. I like to call it stronger, deeper, more correct. Stronger, deeper, more correct, not just depth. Maybe that's another misnomer about me. It's not just about depth. Can you be as strong as you are flexible as you are strong, and they both increase together. But more importantly, you can have strength without rigidity, and you can have flexibility without instability if you use your strength to create space and express the range of motion into it. So bottom line, and back to the question with the shortest answer after giving all of that, you could practice every day. It's not necessary. If you dedicated 3 days a week just to getting acclimated, getting the endurance, and starting to get those words moving through the body. And then, frankly, I can predict that if you were practicing 3 days a week, you would want to practice 4.
Okay, so ideally 4 times a week if you're starting out to see some progress.
Yeah, if you want to see really getting stronger, deeper, more correct, more acclimated, and more endurance, 4. Mm-hmm. 4 is
beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, which brings me into the next question. So let's say, Jenny, who's brand new to the studio, she's committed to those 4 times a week, and she's getting into the room and she's working it. Here's another question. How hard or how deep should one aspire to be in the yoga posture? And here's why I'm asking this. So I like to study yoga philosophy, as part of my preparations for also teaching and for my own personal evolution. And I follow a yoga teacher from Ukraine, actually. His name is Andrei Lapa, and he studied with the Tibetan monks. And the way that he explains yoga asana is asana for its own sake is not really a thing in his model of the world. Like, we don't do the splits just to do the splits. The reason we do the asana is actually as a tool of gluing your mind, which tends to run off on journeys during your practice, of gluing it super tightly to the body and thereby accessing the present moment through this really deep awareness. So you only really need to do the asana or the yoga posture deeply enough so that it glues your mind to the body into the present moment. So for different people, it will, if you're coming in super, super stiff, your side bending half moon might not look very deep from the outside, but it is enough to bring you into the present moment. So what is your take? How deeply should you be striving to do the yoga pose? Like, do I have to do the deepest backward bend of everybody in the room to attain the benefits? Or can I just coast? Is that enough?
Yeah. Okay, well, those are two opposite extremes, right?
Right.
Should I be the deepest in the room, or can I just coast? Like, so just like the way you set that up, the obvious answer is in the middle. But let's talk about it. Let's unpack it. What does yoga mean? It means yoking. It means union. And what you're describing from the teaching that you're referring to is the yoking of the mind with the body. By the way, mind, body, breath, which is going to be the bigger part of my answer. That is what yoga is. Yoking, union between implies separation. So the recollection, the remembering, and the realizing that there is no separation between your highest self and you, between the source of all things and you, between you and all perceived others, right? That's the yoking that happens. All paths of yoga, all limbs of yoga lead to God, including asana. And so that is what the teacher that you're also referring to is saying, right? It's the yoking, the one with all. Now, remember a couple things. First of all, and I think we talked about it last time, like one definition that I read, it was so long ago that I can't remember where it was. I could say where I thought it was, but I might be wrong. It gave definition of yoga asana. Number one, mindful movement with breath. Number two, stillness in posture. Number three, savasana between, which means literally and figuratively, without savasana, it is no longer yoga. Now, I want to pair that definition with the reminder. I think we talked about it last time too. I'm glad that we're pulling it forward and building on it. Is that when we're standing on a mat doing, in your example, splits, what we're actually doing is cultivating the qualities of mind and self-control, determination, patience, faith, and concentration. Concentration is the quality of mind to which you referred in doing the splits and becoming one with all that is in the form of the splits. Now, I'm going to tell you that what is more important than splits is breathing in that position. We like to call yoga an experiential breathing exercise. So you get into the shape of this posture, by the way, and you breathe there. And then you get into the shape of this posture, and by the way, you breathe there. It's actually far more about the breath, and I'm going to call it like which position you breathe into. But the reason to do the position is not for the sake of the position. It's for the sake of breathing into the position while you're cultivating self-control, determination, patience, faith, and most especially and most importantly, concentration. Now, I want to get back to this question about deep, because this is something that I really passed through for sure. I was on the receiving end of a lot of people who I'm just going to say had maybe a limited purview of what yoga asana is and what it can look like. So I was doing some things that I'm just going to say people didn't understand because it was incredibly deep. Feet together, legs locked, head butt, pulling myself through, can't even quite figure out, wait, what's happening with your feet? They're hooked on your hips with your knees on your, like what, right? And people started saying to me, that's not yoga, that's contortion. And I went, oh, I see, they don't understand. I've gone so deep that they no longer understand. Mm-hmm. Now, here's what I want to tell you about that, because depth is what depth is. And depth is an experience more than anything. I'm gonna tell you that. This Scorpio sun, Aquarius moon, Pisces rising, what I'm going to tell you is that depth is a way of knowing yourself. And again, remember, I never pair it only with depth. It's strong, deep, and correct. And it's all about the breath, and the body is a learning device for the mind. But getting back to what I was saying. Now, you can be doing a yoga posture that is not deep at all, and still you're doing yoga. You can be doing a yoga posture that is not deep at all, but you're not actually, by definition, doing yoga. You can do a posture that is extraordinarily deep, but it's not yoga. And you can do a posture that is extraordinarily deep yoga, right? And so it's not the position that is the defining feature. Otherwise, what differentiates yoga from gymnastics or dance, right? Why not just go to the gym?
That too.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you with all certainty, you can get every single thing you need, including superhuman strength, by the way, through biomechanical, functional, with neuroplasticity, mastery of the body as a learning device for the mind, and the mind being the conductor, mindfully moving with breath, stillness in the position, the therapeutic position. And yeah, so do you have to go deep? No, you can be not deep at all and still be doing yoga, and you can be extremely deep and be doing yoga. But if you don't understand what yoga is, you might be working out in the form of yoga postures and not understanding as much what I would call like the journey through the self. By the way, let's do it this way, like here, through the self, through the self.
That's self, yeah.
To the truth of all it is, right? This is yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Journey through the self to the self, the journey of truth, right? Mm-hmm. What's true is always true. Yet there's for me, obviously, you know what a spiritual path yoga is. Mm-hmm. And all paths of yoga lead to God, and strong, deep, and therapeutic practice led me straight to source. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. It does, yeah.
How deep should you go? Here's, we have to have it like a concrete, we have to land on a concrete answer, so here it is. How deep you should go is only as deep as you are receiving the therapeutic benefit for which the posture is intended, as you're able to hold it in stillness. But first and most importantly, you can stay connected to calm, deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose. So if you've gone so deep that you can't hold it, if you've gone so deep that you've sacrificed the form for which the therapeutic benefit is intended and therefore you're no longer receiving it, or if you've gone so deep that you can't breathe, it's clearly too deep, right? So you're being guided by your breath. Mm-hmm. You're being guided by your ability to hold it in stillness, which requires that concentration, pure time presence on every level of being, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, there is no better way to learn how to concentrate than standing balancing postures as an adult in yoga class.
Beautiful. I love that. So if you're noticing yourself getting out of breath, struggling for breath, the breath becomes, edgy, jagged, that is a sure sign that you're practicing too deep, trying too hard. Too good is no good.
I like that you said that, because now my wisdom deck is free flowing through me. And one way that I define a very high level of practice, and I did not say deep, I said high. A high level of practice. And what I mean by that is maybe like a high level of self-realization is the ability to contract what you need to support yourself in the posture. More importantly, to relax everything else, which in every posture is your face, more importantly, your mind, most importantly, your breath, right? So we take these postures that are I'm going to call it so-called, hardest postures in the world, and we make them look like a piece of cake with this formula I've just given you, right? Relax your face, relax your mind, relax your breath. And then there's a set of, a prescription of what I call biomechanics. I do consider myself a biomechanics master. And in that set, I'm always telling you in big picture umbrella concepts, what you need to contract, more importantly, what you can relax in that position. Let's talk about that, because you brought in kind of like the first timer, new to the practice. And I want to tell you that one of the biggest, I can't call it a mistake, commonalities, because it's that common. One of the biggest commonalities for a beginner is that they come in, okay, I'm gonna be very demonstrative, ready? They come in and they contract every single muscle in every single posture, right? And then they're holding their breath and they shoot themselves in the foot, and then they go down, and then they go, I can't do it. It's too hard. No. Come here and let me just help you breathe. Let me help you breathe so you can stay in the room. Let me help you stay in the room so you can cultivate this practice with frequency, precision, and then depth, which is intensity, right? And whatever you need from it, whatever, and that is the thing, you know, no matter what you need from this, it is there for you. And sometimes you walk in not knowing what you need, but you'll find out pretty quick.
Yeah. So, this old saying that goes around in the Bikram studios, yoga is a gas station. You are here to receive energy. You should be leaving the room with more energy than what you entered with. So do you find when you practice with this level of mindfulness and steady, calm breath, relaxed mind, you truly, genuinely leave with more energy than what you entered with? Is that the experience for you?
So with one caveat, I'm going to say yes. But here's what I mean. Like when class is over, you feel like maybe low-key dead to the world, right? Like crawling out of the room, right? So it's not that you run out of the room, jump up and down with more energy, but like after you process, right? By the way, another important reason to take that at minimum 2 minutes savasana every chance you get, 30 seconds.
5 hours to do.
2 minutes, 5 minutes afterwards, so you can process that, right? You've received quite literally, I mean, who knows, millions of bits of information from the brain through the spine to the body, and then the brain just kind of like clicks save on the file of the class so that you can, like, the brain can remember this through the nervous system, through the network, and kind of like resume, pick up where you left off. You're actually clicking save in that savasana on some really important stuff. You're energizing. I want you to remember that, and I think we talked about it last time, I don't mind repeating myself. And that is that, aha, aha, aha. I want to give you a bit of information that might be just before you ask the question, so we'll segue into that type of thing. So here's what I call the perfect prescription of this class, this 90-minute class. You come into the room, and the very first thing you do is pranayama. That is by design. What you're doing in pranayama, among other things, is you are oxygenating the blood. Okay, we'll talk about the framework maybe later if we do talk about it. But you come in and you do pranayama first to oxygenate the blood. And what are you breathing? You're breathing hot air. This is no longer anecdotal. This is now proven that breathing in the hot air literally dilates your blood vessels. Literally. So you come into the room, you dilate the oxygenate the blood, you dilate the blood vessels, and then the very next thing we do, we elevate the heart rate. The very first posture we do, we get the arms overhead and we use full strength and a half moon, right, left, back bend, Pada Hastasana. We do that on purpose. We elevate the heart rate right at the beginning because now we have the perfect prescription of oxygenated blood pumping hard through dilated vessels, and now we direct the nutrients. Right? So we're taking that oxygen-rich blood and we're positioning ourselves in these postures that we breathe into. And we work with a lot of tourniquets, whether your tourniquet is a sit-down, kneel-down position, no matter what the tourniquet is, right? Our grips, we use a lot of tourniquets in class so that we can direct that flow of nutrient to an area, use a tourniquet and to build the pressure, and then when release it, high pressure, oxygen-rich blood, pumping hard through dilated vessels, oxygenating, energizing, and by the way, cleansing and purifying, right? They say that yoga, 90% of yoga is like waste removal. And what that means is that we're just gathering inflammation. We're gathering and purifying and cleansing and excreting in this hot, hard, life-changing, mind-changing, game-changing, spine-changing class. And I'm just going to tell you that that is specific to yoga. All of this is what differentiates yoga from anything. And when I say yoga, obviously, I mean both, I mean asana, I mean pranayama. The entire class is an experiential breathing exercise, but I mean all forms of yoga, because remember, we're working on the level of the mind, and it's the journey through the self to the self. Yeah. So I think that's your answer.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Did I
You 100% answered it. Okay, so I wanted to share a little story with you and get your take on it. I'm teaching currently hot yoga down in Baja near Cabo San Lucas. And on Friday evening, 4 p.m., it's not exactly the most popular time slot. Very hot outside. It's called, sure, it's called Paper Taiga. There's no authentic Bikram yoga in Baja currently, other than in a town called Todos Santos, the All Saints, at a sweet little studio called Paper Taiga. We're in Las Tunas. I'd love to see you. I teach there 3 times a week, and I teach the original authentic recipe, which is 90 minutes, 105 degrees heat. It gets a little humid. It's probably a little more humid than in prescription, but we get a good sweat, 100%. So here's the story. Friday night, only one student shows up. A beloved student shows up. I love and adore practicing with him. He's been, practicing with me for over a year now. And he goes to me, "Oh, look at this. It's just the 2 of us. Great. We don't have to do 90 minutes, right? We can just do a quickie 60 minutes. And I said, no. We made the effort to come here, to drive here, to clean the room, to set up the room. We have to do the original recipe. Otherwise, what is the point?" So to my mind, to my nervous system, I always absolutely have to receive the 90-minute sequencing, because that is where my nervous system resets. Like for me, the Bikram yoga has been so healing. I cannot tell you, because it enabled me to come off antidepressants. It changed the way that I move through the world. It changed the way that I respond in stressful situations. And therefore, I always stick to the 90 minutes. So I said to him, "We're doing the 90 minutes together, my friend." And we did. And we had a really beautiful, heartful experience. And we both just floated out of the room. So here's my question to you. Should, as a newer student, we now have options to do 60-minute or a 90-minute. Is the 60-minute practice enough? Is it as good as a 90?
Yeah, that question just zoomed right into something really specific. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about the evolution of it, and then we'll talk about the answer. It was in, I used to own a studio. Of course, I own the biggest studio in the Coachella Valley, and it still exists today. I'm very happy about that. And I actually had literally built 2 different yoga rooms so that I could have the 26 and 2 90-minute on the hour every hour. So the big room, 9 o'clock, the small room, 10 o'clock, the big room, 11 o'clock, the small room, 12 o'clock. But then as the universe would have it, things changed right around 2010, 11, 12. That affected kind of like all studios. And everyone was really going for this lunch hour class, the 1 hour version. At that time, I was definitely really a purist, exactly as you're saying, right? And it was hard for me to even concede to offer a 60-minute class. And if I did concede, it was hard for me to get behind any of the classes I had seen out there. I felt like, well, something's got to give. Don't give that, don't give that, don't give that. So I had just a hard time carrying it down in my own mind. Then I found a formula that I liked. Now, stay tuned here with this story. I found a formula that I liked for the 60-minute class. And the formula that I liked, that I thought to myself, okay, maybe I could get behind that one, was a formula that kept 2 sets of all of the postures that we consider to be the most therapeutic, and then only 1 set of the postures that we consider to be more athletic. So just off the top of your head, just name some of the biggies that the class is known for, and you can identify the class by these postures.
Triangle pose, camel pose, right?
Yeah. So the 60-minute is going to take still 2 sets of the most therapeutic postures, and then just 1 set of the most athletic. Now, I put a survey out to my students at that time, and this was probably like 2012, by the way, a long time ago. I put a poll out, and I said, would you like to try this class? It's 60 minutes. And the ones that were the most amenable to it at that time were the 5 a.m.ers, because if it was a 60-minute class, it could start at 5:30 instead of 5. They could still shower and get to work on time, and they were like, yes to that. So the 5 a.m.ers wanted to try it. It became a 5:30 1-hour class. And after running it for about maybe 2 months, surprisingly, when I did a follow-up like survey or poll, the feedback kind of went down because these people showing up at 5 a.m. were the most diehard, right? To like prioritize it so much that you sacrifice some sleep, you get up early, you get there, you know. What they said after experiencing the 60-minute class, according to this format that I used, is that they were not realizing as much strength. Because I want you to think of like awkward series, that's more athletic, right? We don't think of that as more athletic, really. You get the heart rate up, you really strengthen the lower body. And they were wanting 2 sets of the ones that build more strength also. Because remember, I said to you that you're becoming as strong as you are flexible. Usually, men come into the practice, and as being brand new to the practice, they're a little stronger than they are flexible. And usually, women come into the practice and they're a little more flexible. What your ratio is within your body, you'll become as strong as you are flexible. You'll become as flexible as you are strong. And then they both increase together in that 90-minute hard 2-set, 26 and 2 moving meditation, something like that. So is 90 better than 60? Of course it is. Is 60 better than nothing? Of course it is. Yes, right? Okay. So that's my answer.
That's a good answer. I would take the Kim Tang 60-minute sequence. I haven't experienced it yet. So yeah, that's on the agenda.
I also want to tell you that, hey, Quincy says 60.
Quincy!
I also want to tell you that, there's a reality of the 90-minute class, which is probably why the 60 was introduced to begin with. And that is that by the time you leave your house, drive to the studio, arrive early enough to get yourself settled, stuff in the locker, place in class, breathe, sip of water, do the class, take a shower, and leave. It truly becomes like a 3-hour deal, right? Easily. For some, maybe 2.5 if you're quick about it. Quincy says 60 minutes, 26 and 2 feels like only eating half a sandwich.
That's hilarious.
You know, and when you're hungry, half a sandwich is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just funny because there's an analogy there that people would say half a sandwich for lunch, no dinner, or something like that, right? So it's a funny overlap of analogies, and currently I'm pulling a bunch of Bikram analogies, but I have my own for sure, and 60 minutes is better than nothing, and 90 minutes is better than 60. And if you have that time constraint, and maybe while you're just learning to acclimate to the heat, to build the endurance of this hard class, maybe 60 is a point of entry. Maybe 60 is a friendly invitation into like what's there for you in its full glory, right? Something
Quincy
like that.
wants the whole Japanese ham sandwich. That's right.
Okay, now let me just tell you something about Quincy. Quincy, like if you've ever seen Quincy's Hatha Hastasana, like Quincy is a split traction guy. And so for him to say, I want the whole Japanese ham sandwich is the very most perfect thing he could pull out because it suits him. He is that. He's the embodiment of what we could call the Japanese ham sandwich. I love that. And Quincy, I love you. I'm going to see you shortly. I'm so happy you jumped in.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have we're coming up on time now, but one more quickie story to share that I wanted to get your input on is, so again, coming back to the Friday night class, which I absolutely loved, but it was an interesting entry point because we started off with, it's just the two of us, let's do 60. And I was like, no, we're sticking to the 90-minute formula. And then the second thing that came at me was right away, great, but we can skip pranayama, right? Because that's pointless. What is the point of that anyways? To which my eyes, I think, went probably, as big as the 20 cents piece. And it was like, no, 2 breathing exercises, 26 asanas is a must. So, What is your take? What is the point of pranayama? I know you covered it briefly, but maybe a little bit diving into it. Why do we do the pranayama to start with? Not once, but twice.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's just my natural response to him saying, let's just skip the breathing. It's a super simple one-liner. Like, we can talk about this and expand and unpack it, but my answer is, oh, did you want to just do a stretch class, or did you want to do yoga? Right?
Oh,
You skip the pranayama, you're no longer doing yoga. You skip the breath, you skip, by the way, the three elements, right? Mindful movement with breath and stillness and posture, breathing into that position, and then savasana between. So if you eliminate the breath and even the emphasis on the breath, and the emphasis, if you remove the emphasis on cultivating the qualities of mind, the journey through the self to the self, and so on, you're just stretching, right? And he can stretch. And that's fine. But what you're laying down as the certified teacher is something so far beyond his wildest dreams. So he doesn't even know what he doesn't even know about what's there for him when you get in there and do it right. Yeah. Right? He doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't even feel bold by saying I've known myself as being beyond superhuman strength, flexibility, nervous system, dialed, grounded, capacity. Like, I'm just going to guarantee you what's there for you is more than you can possibly fathom. No matter what you think you're there for, you're going to get more than you realize if you're doing yoga and if you're abiding in the prescription.
That's beautiful. I love that. I think that's a wonderful note to wrap it up on. So just a reminder, Kim is there in person in November. On the 13th of November, we start with a satsang, which is free and everybody is invited. So if money is a thing right now, at the very least, come and meet Kim and Spencer in person and just receive the energy. Be in the field. That is it. We'd love to see you and welcome you in person. And then we're going to dive in deep on Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and the 15th, into the yoga, into the workshops, into the nervous system, all of it. And everybody is invited. We cannot wait to see you.
Yeah, and let's also, can I just a super quick enticement?
Yes.
Because although I am the head coach of the International Yoga Sports Federation, I'm not there to coach the Sonoma community per se. The greatest part of my teaching, and by the way, one part that I've brought in historically is what I call beloveds. I'm going to help you improve your relationship to gravity as you deepen your relationship to time. And in other words, what I mean by that is even just the way that you live in your body. I'm not even talking about doing postures in a class. The way you live in the body, what you think is normal decline. I'm going to flip the script on what you think is normal decline. And by the way, if your body hurts, I'm going to help you understand how you can self-care out of some of that discomfort. Believe me, I'm here to be your humble servant, and I have a lot to give, and I give it I call it laying the love down hard. I give as much as I can for as long as I can to as many people as I can in every way that I can. And I do not leave until I have laid love down on every single person in the room. And by the way, even and especially the one hiding in the back corner that thinks they're being invisible, there is nobody invisible in my room. And I know that can feel confronting, but if you are someone who is not accustomed to being seen, you come into my loving field and let me see you.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of this. You worked incredibly beautifully with a student of ours who had frozen shoulder when you came to Sonoma, and you worked with her.
Does her name start with a C, or did her name start with a T?
Let's not go into names because I don't know if she wants to be mentioned online, but yeah, but I just remember you worked with her specifically during the lunch hour. We were all out, enjoying sunshine and a little coconut water in between sessions, and you worked with her on getting her shoulder movement back, and she couldn't even lift her arm past this point, and by the time you were done working with her, she was able to bring it up to here. It was genuinely remarkable and incredible. So
in one session.
During lunch break.
There is no lunch break. I can sleep when I die. When I go to Sonoma, I'm not there to take a break. right? I'm there to be in service. And if that service comes with someone who approaches me when everyone else is eating, then that is when the service comes. So I am going to tell you something that is true, unequivocally. I have a very different way, my own way, uniquely my own way of saying it, seeing it, doing it, teaching it, right? And I am able to facilitate some remarkable transformation and or at the very least relief, kind of like frequently, almost immediately. Like I don't know what to say, but it's happened enough that I feel confident saying it. It's no guarantee, it's no promise, but am I going to show up for you with everything that I am? You better believe it. That's why I'm there. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So just a quick reminder, if you're working, through injuries, this is your opportunity to come and experience a breakthrough in person. You will see results that you maybe do not see as a possibility for yourself yet. That's number one. And number two, it's a cool opportunity to meet amazing new people. I'm very proud to say we now even have not only a romance that sparked at one of Kim Tang's workshops. This beautiful beloved couple is about to get married in the March of the new year. So it's like there's so many things that blossom through these weekends that I'm sorry, but you cannot afford to miss it. Cancel whatever you got going on and come.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, I know you have to get on the call with Quincy. Thank you so much. We love you. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Yes?
Next week? Yes, no?
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Thank you. Bye.